My name is Mark Alvisi. I'm originally from Coatesville, Pennsylvania. It's a little town outside of Philadelphia. And that's where I was born and raised. I guess that's where it all started for me with the bodybuilding thing is, I kind of took an interest. I picked up some magazines when I was a kid. I think this is so cool with all these guys with these muscles, and it's ironic that one of the guys that was in that magazine was Rich Gaspari, because the magazines was from the era when Rich and Lee Haney were battling for the Olympia. And that was my first exposure to reading muscle magazines and like seeing what was going on at a competitive level. And that was pretty cool. Middle class, blue collar. My parents both were born in Italy, so I'm first generation Italian. So I'm actually the first of the entire generation to be born in America. Growing up as a kid, I was pretty athletic. I was involved in sports, and I played around with the weights. Obviously, I had an interest in bodybuilding to some degree. Arnold and Lou Ferrigno on TV, and my dad bought me like a weight bench when I was probably like 12 years old. So I played around with that in the basement. I had no idea what I was doing. But it wasn't until actually I joined the military when I was 18, and I went into the US Army, and they have some really great gyms there. And that's when I really got my first exposure to training seriously. In the military, they're running you, and you're running and sit-ups and push-ups and all kinds of different athletic stuff. But then I would also be training in the gym, and I started noticing my body just started to really respond, and I started growing. And I still didn't even know anything about nutrition at this point. I was just eating whatever was in the chow line. Whatever they were feeding me, I was eating. And I started to get a little bit more of an interest and a passion about, I want to learn more about what makes the body grow. And I just started to do more research, and I started learning more about training. After 4 years of being in the military, I ended up moving to South Florida. And that's when I got exposed to the whole bodybuilding scene at a competitive level. And man, it just took off from there.
A hot newcomer in just his second competition was Mark Alvisi from nearby Palm Beach. With 4 years of training in the U.S. Army Special Forces Group, the mental discipline needed for bodybuilding was well entrenched. But early on, he just wanted a good-looking body.
A lot of people say that bodybuilding is an individual sport, and it is to some degree, but at this level, it takes more than just you to really pull it all together. It's just like if you're a NASCAR driver, you've got to have a great pit crew if you want to win a race. I've got a support structure around me, in the form of Rich Gaspari, giving me the opportunity to be able to do this and focus on my training. My girlfriend, Ava Cowan, who's, supporting me, and obviously, she goes through everything I go through. My friend Larry Diodato and Steve Singer have come out to every contest I've done in the last 2 years. My massage therapist, George Johnson, my coach, Hani Rambod, he puts in a lot of time and effort to make sure that we tweak every single thing we need to do. My family, they came out to watch me compete, and at the end of the day, I want to do all these people proud. It's not just about me. They're involved in what I'm doing, and when I go out there and I do well for myself, but I also do well for all these people because I want to do everyone proud. And Rich Gaspari is a pretty demanding guy, so I know the bar is high, and I really wanted to I wanted to really show him that that I can be a great bodybuilder.
Making his IFBB Pro debut, Mark Alvisi.